Laura. Congrats on the win, first of all. Two questions for you. First, just obviously, first start, first goal for Sally Menti. Could you just talk about what you saw from her today? And, I'm sure you'll tell me it's a question for Leslie, but is the club working on a way to keep her around past the end of June, when her contract currently ends?
Yeah, that's definitely a definitely a Leslie conversation. Um, but I said to Sally when we signed her in June, when we signed her, that we had a plan about keeping her short term and then maybe looking to loan her out in the summer. And when we did that, my exact words to her were, "Change the plan. Change the plan. That's up to you." And I don't think she did herself any damage in doing that tonight. Yeah, I think, look, overall, we made a decision early in the week that we were going to go with majority of the players that had been left back home and not travelled. Obviously, the only players that started that had been away on international duty were Claudia and Jordan Bug. So that meant, we were going to give some people a chance to start that maybe don't normally start. So with that alone, so proud of the group that they stuck to the game plan. They nailed the game plan, which was to frustrate them. And I think we did a good job of that. And to hurt them in transition, which I think we did a good job of that at times. And yeah, so happy for Sally. She's grown a lot since she's been with us. She's a baller, absolute baller. The fact she's a local kid just means a little bit more, And right before the goal, I think we'd had a couple of chances where Shay had gone in and could have shot and crossed it. Someone else in the first half did a similar thing. And I brought them in and I think someone got hurt. And I said, "Will someone do me a favour and just shoot?" And then next minute, Sally rips an absolute worldie. So, yeah, so happy for her.
And then that brings me to my second question. Just obviously, scoring goals has been a bit of an issue this season. This is only the second time the team has scored more than once in a game. What do you think was the difference tonight, especially considering, I think you had 35% possession or something like that?
Yeah, I think right now the team that we need to be is we need to be really solid defensively and we need to be good in transition. And the attacking side we can keep working at. And I said that to the group after the Washington game, that we have players that want to be good on the ball, right? We have that in our group. And it's not that we can't be that way, but I think being okay not being that way, I think will win us games right now. And we can solve all of that later, as long as we are good in transition and we have the bodies to be able to do that now. I think Lynn had a chance before Emory scored her goal that we won it in transition too. So yeah, I think we just need to keep working at being who we are right now, and then when the summer comes, we have time to really master the other side of the ball. When we've got everyone fit, we've got time to train, and really hone in on being better on the ball. But I think tonight is an example of the team we can be right now. We can be that team. We can defend, we can let the other team have it, and we can hurt you in transition. And I'm all right with that.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Bella. And then we'll go over to Jeff.
Kind of building on that, Laura, earlier, some of the matches this season talked about resiliency and grit and being okay with being the team that kind of grinds out. Tonight, not only did you do that, but you also had to bounce back from quickly conceding the equalizer.
Yeah.
And really looking. What does it really say about kind of where this team is this season that they were able to really find themselves again and get that second goal under those circumstances at that time in the match?
Yeah, I just think there's belief. There's belief. And I think we would have been disappointed if we'd have come away without a win. We'd have definitely been disappointed if we'd come away with nothing. And, credit to Claudia. That is one of the best saves I've seen live. Everyone thought it was in. They even put the smoke up. They thought it was in. It was an unbelievable save. So, little things like that, we need that. We need that little bit of quality. That's quality for her, right? Making the big saves, quality. And then we can go up the other end and show a bit of quality ourselves, because Emery's goal, they're going to have to fight out which one was better. I'm not going to decide which one was better, but they can fight it out between them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Charles, go ahead.
Hey, Laura. I wanted to ask you about Emory. I know last match, the Spirit match, she got the start, obviously the goal in this one. Can you speak a little bit to what you've seen from her of recently? Because I know there was a string of matches where she was on the bench. And I know you've talked at length before about how, you want your players to force you to make tough decisions about who starts and who doesn't. But
Yeah.
what have you seen from her in the recent weeks?
Yeah, honestly, I think she's committed to being good defensively. I don't think it's something that she's ever had to really be good at, to be honest. Being in youth soccer, she probably didn't have to be. So I think she's really honed in on that. And I told her very bluntly, if you get better at that side of the game, you will get on the field. But at that stage, when she wasn't playing, we were winning games 1-0. And to put someone on who might not necessarily execute on the defensive side, we can't do that. And tonight she showed she can execute on both sides. So, that's a growth for her. And so happy for her. She worked her socks off tonight. She was so good defensively, and then got the reward for the goal.
Thanks, Charles. Susie, go ahead.
I was just going to ask about that, Laura. You talked about the players executing the game plan very well, and there was a lot of work that Emory did and just everyone in the middle did to clog up players there. And just wondering if you can talk a little bit more about what just players like Emory, Sally, Maddie, Poco were asked to do there.
Run. No, honestly, you got to work hard. And I think, I said this before the game, I think they're the best football team in the league, San Diego, right now. And I think their two holding midfielders, Darley and McCaskill, I think have been superb this season. So our game plan was to try and restrict how much influence they had on the ball, and to restrict the amount of time the ball goes to Cascarino, because she's world class. And you saw that with their goal and with the chance that Claudia saves. So that was their job. How do we stop Cascarino getting it? And the big reason that she gets it is those two. And we did a good job. There was times we lost them, but there was times that they got away from us, but we solved it in different ways. Sally and Ainsley, I thought, were brilliant. And then Sam Mazer comes on, and we know that that's sort of her game too, gritty and can break play up. So I thought that was great. And Coco worked so hard defensively. Her job was very, very specific, was to deal with the six and then to get out to McNabb, which is hard work. And then Jess came on and sort of took that role on a little bit. So yeah, it just a team effort. I thought the back line did brilliantly too. These are tough games to play. There's a lot of decisions that they have to make. But we Claudia made obviously an exceptional save, but she didn't have to make loads of saves, which is great. And we're a bit, we're disappointed to concede off set piece. We haven't been doing that, so it's something that we know we can work on pretty quickly going into the Chicago game.
All right, and then we'll go over to Jada.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Sure can.
Okay, great. Thanks. Congratulations on the win. To my understanding, having 6 teenagers out there as far as the starting lineups go, and combined with the two sides, I wanted to get your opinion, or if you could kind of comment on the evolution of the league to be able to be at a point to where you do have that kind of youth. I know there's some contract things that have to happen in order for that to be possible, but just to have those kind of players available and ready to perform.
Yeah, I mean, you look at both teams. Obviously, for us, we snagged a San Diego kid in Jordan Bug, right? And Ainsley and Emory come from Texas. Ainsley sort of comes from Texas. Whereas San Diego's are predominantly from San Diego, right? So I think it's just the pathway is there. And honestly, the CBA lends to this. I'm not sure that was the plan when the players negotiated it, but it lends towards clubs really leaning in on young players and investing in young players. And I think that's why you're seeing more and more of it.
Thanks, Jada. We'll go back to Charles.
Hey Laura, two if I can. Firstly, I know you talked about it in the pre-match, but tough with some of your nationals coming back as late as they did. Can you speak to what Jess gave you tonight, considering she believed Tuesday, if I'm correct, comes back and had a pretty significant influence on Emory's goal. Can you just speak to what Jess gave you, off the bench?
Experience. I think she hadn't had a ton of time on the game plan, so she was a bit all over the place defensively. I was screaming at her. But then when Emery's goal, the little set that she gave Emery was nuts. And then when we'd scored, her and Lynn did a brilliant job of managing the game in the corner. So it's that little bit of experience I think that she brought. But listen, I'll go on record. It is an absolute disgrace that we're playing on a Friday after a FIFA break. It's goes against everything that we say we want. Player health and safety should be primary thing every day of this league. This is not leaning towards that. Their players, our players, it doesn't matter who's playing. I don't care if it's our team, I don't care if it's anyone else. No one should be playing a game on a Friday after they've played, whether they've played in America, whether they've played in Canada, whether they've played in Europe, in Korea, doesn't matter where. You cannot play on a Tuesday and play on a Friday. It's shocking. And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. It is. If we want this league to be the best league in the world, this ain't it. It's not it. I saw Adriana Leone at the end of the game hobbling off her bench because she had to play on Tuesday and she had to play tonight. It's not fair. It's not okay. And we have to change it.
And to follow up, I hope this is maybe a more, happy sort of question for you. Sally Menti, it showed on the broadcast when she scored, she kind of gave you the fist pump. It looked very similar to what you were doing. And when we heard from her a little bit ago, she said she blacked out during her goal. We know you mentioned blacking out. I'm just wondering if maybe after so long training with the club and being around you that maybe she's rubbed off from you. And I guess rather to ask a real question, if what it's been like to see her kind of grow up over the last few years.
Honestly, Sally is hilarious to start with. She's so funny. So that leans to I love that in people, so she's actually called KDB. We call her KDB because we write a lot of things out in initials, and Sam Mays is obviously SM. So Sally adopted the Kevin De Bruyne initials, which she absolutely has taken on in her stride. And, her goal tonight was a pretty Kevin De Bruyne-ish goal, But yeah, I'm so happy for her. I mean, I haven't really seen her after the game because she's been talking to you guys and Amazon and God knows, she's just suddenly a superstar. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait for Monday to be back with the group and to show everybody. I love doing this. I love showing people how they celebrate after goals because you're right. I didn't even see Sally's goal. I just saw it hit the net. But yeah, she's a baller. She's a baller. And her mum and dad, her family were here as well, which is amazing. So just so happy for her. So happy.
Thanks, Laura.